The history of the Israel-Palestine conflict and potential solutions. The conflict between Israel and Palestine is one of the most enduring and complex conflicts in modern history. Its roots trace back to the early 20th century, but the core of the conflict revolves around competing nationalisms, territorial claims, and deep historical and religious ties to the land. Understanding the origins of the conflict and exploring potential solutions requires a nuanced look at the events leading up to the current situation. The historical context. The conflict's origins can be traced to the late 19th and early 20th centuries, when Zionism, a Jewish nationalist movement, emerged. Zionism sought to establish a homeland for the Jewish people, particularly in Palestine, which at the time was part of the Ottoman Empire. Jews had historical and religious ties to the land, particularly in Jerusalem. Simultaneously, Arab nationalism was rising, as Arab communities across the Middle East sought independence from colonial rule, including in Palestine, where a predominantly Arab population lived. The collapse of the Ottoman Empire after World War I set the stage for greater tension. In 1917, the British government issued the Balfour Declaration, expressing support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. This was seen by the local Arab population as a threat to their own aspirations for independence. British control over Palestine, formalized in 1920 under a League of Nations mandate, exacerbated tensions between Jews and Arabs. As Jewish immigration to Palestine increased in the 1930s and 1940s, largely due to persecution in Europe, including the horrors of the Holocaust, clashes between Jewish and Arab communities became more frequent. In 1947, the United Nations proposed a partition plan, recommending the division of Palestine into separate Jewish and Arab states, with Jerusalem as an international city. The Jewish community accepted the plan, but the Arab states rejected it. In 1948, Israel declared independence, triggering the First Arab-Israeli War. Surrounding Arab nations invaded, but Israel emerged victorious, expanding its territory beyond the UN partition borders. Hundreds of thousands of Palestinians were displaced during this conflict. Material exclusive from teacher Bruno Saldana, brunosaldana.com, becoming refugees in neighboring countries. This event, known as the Nakba catastrophe in Arabic, remains a central grievance for Palestinians. Subsequent wars in 1956, 1967, and 1973 further shaped the conflict. Notably, the 1,967 Six-Day War resulted in Israel occupying the West Bank, Gaza Strip, and East Jerusalem, territories that many Palestinians view as their future state. Despite international calls for withdrawal, Israeli settlements in these areas have grown, fueling further anger. The ongoing conflict. Today, the Israel-Palestine conflict centers around key issues: the status of Jerusalem, borders, the rights of refugees, and the existence of Israeli settlements in the West Bank. Israel views itself as a small nation surrounded by hostile forces and sees its military actions as necessary for self-defense. On the other hand, Palestinians, particularly those in the West Bank and Gaza, live under Israeli occupation and face severe restrictions on movement, limited access to resources, and frequent military confrontations. Efforts at peace have been numerous. The Oslo Accords in the 1990s, which led to the creation of the Palestinian Authority and recognized mutual aspirations for peace, raised hopes. However, negotiations have repeatedly broken down, often due to continued settlement expansion, violent uprisings, intifadas, and mutual distrust. A path forward. Potential solutions. A lasting solution to the Israel-Palestine conflict must address both the political and human dimensions of the struggle. The two most commonly proposed solutions are the two-state solution and the one-state solution. The two-state solution. This approach envisions the establishment of an independent Palestinian state alongside Israel. The idea is rooted in the original UN partition plan and has been the basis of most peace negotiations. A viable Palestinian state would include the West Bank, Gaza Strip, and East Jerusalem as its capital. In exchange for peace and recognition of Israel, Palestinians would have to renounce violence, and Israel would need to end settlement activity and withdraw from occupied territories. While this solution has broad international support, both sides remain deeply divided on the details, such as the borders and the future of Jerusalem. The one-state solution. This proposal envisions a single binational state where Israelis and Palestinians share equal rights. Advocates argue that it would eliminate the need for borders and offer a way for Jews and Arabs to coexist. However, this idea faces strong opposition from many Israelis who fear losing the Jewish character of their state, and from Palestinians who worry about being outnumbered or marginalized in a Jewish-dominated system. Overcoming challenges. To move forward, both sides must make difficult compromises. Palestinians must focus on building institutions and governance that can lead to a stable, peaceful state. Israel must reconsider its settlement policies and acknowledge the legitimate aspirations of Palestinians for self-determination. Additionally, international actors, including the United States, European Union, and Arab states, must act as honest brokers, facilitating dialogue rather than exacerbating tensions. Education, economic cooperation, and cross-cultural exchanges can help build trust between communities. The promotion of human rights, freedom of movement, and dignity for all individuals living in the region must be at the forefront of any peace effort. Only through sustained dialogue and commitment to nonviolence can the deep wounds of the Israel-Palestine conflict begin to heal. In conclusion, while the road to peace is long and fraught with difficulties, solutions exist if both sides are willing to engage in meaningful dialogue. The international community must continue to play a critical role in mediating and supporting efforts toward a just and lasting resolution. Peace will only be possible when both Israelis and Palestinians recognize each other's right to exist and live in dignity and security. Material researched and prepared by Bruno